when it comes to wehustle.co.uk, leave it, yeah? My family are from West Africa, Kumasi, Ghana. My parents, you know, they were kind of like immigrants. They migrated over here, you know, for a better life. And growing up as a kid was pretty cool. You know, I had everything I needed. You know, I didn't have everything, you know, that all the other kids had and stuff. I just had the stuff that I needed to get by and stuff, eat food and clothes on my back. Didn't have the night trainers and, you know, the other luxuries that all the other kids used to get. So, which kind of, you know, I think at the time you just felt, you know, you wanted to be like everyone else. But I think in the long run, it really kind of formed me to who I am today. You know, I think African parents are probably one of the strictest parents in the world, man. You know, they don't play, you know, they discipline your children like heavy. And I was no exception. And I'm really grateful for it, to be fair, because I think there's times, if it wasn't for my family, I could have ended up in different things. I could have, you know, being from East London, you know, it was very easy to get caught up in the wrong crowd and stuff. And my family were the ones that helped me, you know, push me in the right direction, you know, and, you know, just really helped me stay focused, man. Growing up in East London was hard to keep out of trouble, man. You know, like, especially where I used to live in a estate called Boundary Estate, which was between Leighton and Walthamstow, like bang in the middle, you know, and it was like where everyone used to come. You had the big park and everything. Everyone used to come down there and hang about, all the girls, and, you know, there's always, someone's always looking for trouble. Someone's always sniffing for something to happen, you know. But I think with me growing up and rolling with a lot of elders, I think it matured my mind a lot more into being a leader. And I know a lot of people from around my way, a lot of the youngers used to kind of look up to me as a role model. So, you know, my main thing was making money. I was not really, you know, trying to cause no trouble. Like, it's never really been my thing, you know, going around causing trouble. It's just a waste of time. You know, my thing was just trying to make money, you know, and live good. You know, and I think that message got across to the youngers who are around me, you know. So, you know, trouble didn't really come to me too much. I started taking music more seriously probably back in 2000 when we formed Morfire Crew. And again, when I say seriously, it was just like we were just being dedicated to the music. It wasn't a thing where we had ambitions to say, oh, we're gonna, you know, have a career and, you know, top the charts, because at that point there was no one doing that. So it was almost like abnormal to even think that what's going on now, you know. Back then, you know, the heights of success when we started was getting a gig at Pure Silk or Cosa Nostra, getting a couple £100 and MCing in front of a few hundred people. Like, that was the pinnacle. I think So Solid's got a big part to play in, not just in my career, I think in a lot of people's career, because they showed that vision that, you know, I don't think nobody witnessed, you know, taking your record and making a video for it, you know, charting, you know, it was unheard of, you know, to see a UK, you know, artist, you know, who we can relate to, you know, spitting in British accents, you know, spitting on beats that we spit on. So when we saw So Solid doing their thing, it kind of gave me motivation to be like, yo, like, you know, we can probably like do videos too. And then we done this record, we done the Oi record in early 2001, and it caused up a little bit of heat on the streets and stuff, on the pirate radio stations and stuff. We used to perform it around the country, and people used to go mad. And then we got a call from Universal, Polydor Goldbeat, and they were like, "Yo, we wanna sign the record." And so that was when it was like, "Whoa, like we're getting a record deal now," you know. And that's when I started really like paying more attention, because at the same time, when all that was going on, I was on the streets, still doing stuff, trying to make money for myself, you know, wasn't fully taking that seriously, you know. And again, the parents' issue as well. Parents weren't having it. Me and my pops fell out. We didn't speak for like, throughout the whole of Moorfire, we didn't talk in the same house. Like, he'll come in, I'll go upstairs. Didn't speak like for ages, until Moorfire charted. We got a top 10 record. We were on top of the pops and stuff. Then my dad had to come around and be like, "All right, cool. This is what you want to do. Fair enough." And then, and that was like the start, when I said, "Yeah, well, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do now." Power came about probably at the lowest point of my career mentally. It was after the Moorfire thing. Basically, Moorfire had the Oi record. We got an album deal. As soon as we got the album deal, we done the album. As soon as we done the album, we were about to release the album, and then the whole scene just got shut down. I think So Solid had a gig, and then the police just cracked down on everything. I remember, like, our diary just went from full to just nothing. Like, radio didn't want to speak to us anymore. Press didn't want to speak to us. They were like, "Oh, these guys are bad. They promote this, they promote that." And then it was like, yeah, back to square one again. There was times I was sitting down there thinking like, wow, like, how are we gonna get out of this now? Like, there's almost like no avenues, there's no outlets. Like, how are we gonna get the music out there? And I remember me and Moorfire was sitting down, and we was thinking of a plan, and there was a big hype at a minute. It was like a little buzz of hip hop. Everyone should make hip hop. Forget garage grime music. Forget that. Everyone should make hip hop. And then it never really sat well with me. Never. I just knew in the back of my head, this is not what people want to hear from us. Like, you know, like, we've almost like made a name for ourselves. Like, you know, we've been given, like, the way I see it, even though we're not in a label situation anymore, but we've been given free promo. Like, you know, there's people out there who know who we are now. So we need to work on that platform, you know, and build from that. And I just think, you know, changing the whole sound and style of what we were doing before so quickly wasn't the smartest idea. So I remember Ozzy and Nico, you know, obviously they were doing what they were doing. They were making hip hop records and stuff. And I was like, nah, you know what? Nah, this is not sitting well with me. You know what? I'll do the crew thing, you know, we'll do this. But that's when I said, I gotta do my own thing, man. And that's when I started Lethal Bizzle Records, and I was like, yo, I need to start making records that I want to make, you know, and put them out on my label, and, you know, put my money where my mouth is and see what happens. And then I made up a little plan of basically, you know, starting back to square one. Basically, I said, you know, I'm gonna go back on the underground. I'm gonna make another name for myself, you know, which was hard, you know, because obviously we're coming from top 10s, you know, and, you know, top of the pops and all that high life, back in the dungeon, back in the basement, you know, had a load of MC just waiting for me just to touch mic. And, you know, it's almost like I had the whole underground on my back. So I'm sitting in my room one day, and I remember a few months before I met a guy called Dexplicit in a pirate radio station, and there was a beat playing on the radio. And I'm like, "Rah, who made this beat?" And then the guy goes, "Him." I said, "You made this, yeah?" He's like, yeah. It was another beat, it wasn't the power beat. And I said, "Oh, you got beats?" He said, "Yeah, I got beats." I said, "Cool, like, do me a CD." He said, "Yeah, cool." So he gave me a CD of like 20 something songs in there. I'm listening to them. Then I've heard this power beat. And I'm like, yo, this beat here's alright. There's a few things that needs changing. There was a few extra bits in there and stuff. So I've gone to the studio and I said, all right, cool. You know what? I've got an idea for this record, but take that out, and just make it an 8-bar loop. So he done it there. I went away, and I was just driving on the way home, and I'm listening to the beat, and I can hear people on it, and I'm singing other people's lyrics. I'm like, raw, like, I was just vibing. I thought, you know what? Yeah, I was gonna call up Ozzy, call up Nico, a couple other man, and make a track. Everyone spit their best 8-bar. So I put the calls in. Then, like, about a week or so after that, went to the studio. Everyone's in the studio hearing the beat. The guys in the studio were like looking at me like, blood, what's this? What beat's this? Because it wasn't a Wiley beat, or it didn't sound like a Wiley beat. People were just like, blood, what? I remember guys in the studio didn't even want to spit on the tune. They were like, blood, what's this, blood? Like, not really rating the beat. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, look, just trust me, man. Like, the tune's a banger, trust me. Guys are like, oh, you know what, Biz, it's only because it's you, I'm spitting on it. I'm like, all right, cool. Anyway, Commander B played it on Choice FM. One play, and it's like, from that day, it was just never the same again. My name was back on the street again, like buzzing like crazy. You know, probably even more buzzing than the Morefire buzz, because before it was Morefire Crew, and now it was just Lethal Bizzle. You know, I was running my record company, like I was trying to run it as much as a record company. Like, all the artists on there, paid them before anything happened. You know, I done a video, you know, paid that for my own money. And it was like, I don't know, it was like 7 months after the record is when the record company started calling, you know, and it was just a real deja vu. And having a, like, you know, a lot of learning experience from the Morefire Crew thing, I didn't want to rush it. You know, I wanted to make the right decision, go with the right people. And in the end, I went with Relentless, who signed Soul Solid Crew. And I remember going into the office, and I remember just seeing all the Soul Solid plaques, and I was just like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, you know, this is 21 Seconds, and they were telling me stories about the whole 21 Seconds project, and that really inspired me. And I was just like, yo, it kind of seems, you know, we're on the same page. And Shabs was the A&R at the time, and he was like, listen, like, the record's already a hit. Like, it's the biggest track on the street. What we want to do is translate that to the overgram, you know, do a new video, you know, and even ignite that excitement even more, you know, and try and chart the record. And it was almost like to a point where I felt, you know what, I've done as much as I could with the record, you know, so let me hand it over to you. It changed, you know, my whole career at that point, and I think it definitely changed everybody else's career on that record, and I think it just changed the whole UK scene in general, because it was almost like the industry were like, oh, that garage grime thing's dead, and then Power just came, and then they were just like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, we have to pay attention to these kids. And, you know, ever since then, the game's never been the same. I think I deserve everything that comes to me, bad and good, you know. One thing, you know, I think with a lot of my situation, a lot of my success is DIY. You know, I do it myself. You know, I'm not waiting for a next person to do it for me, you know. And I think that's probably why I've managed to maintain my success and maintain my brand, because I'm almost in control of it myself to a certain extent. Hustler means to me, go-getter. You know, I will not lose, you know, a winner, you know, all those things, you know, molding to one for me is what hustle is, man. I won't take no for an answer. I will never give up, will never be defeated. You know, you just gotta just keep going. Like, there's never an end. There's never an end. That's one thing you gotta realize. Like, there's never a time to stop working. You know, you sleep when you're dead. That's when you stop. Like, and even when you do that, you don't stop, because hopefully the hard work you put in is so much of a legacy that it's gonna grow its own legs and continue to keep moving. So that's my definition.